Hello everyone, today I'll be posting this part 2 guide for Challenges Arena, or I prefer to call it Fair Arena. I think that was its old name. So first things first, before we get into the team, let me cover some of the background information if you're not clear with it yet. The way the rewards work in this mode is that for your first 10 overall wins, you will get a reward, and if you can win 3, 7 or 10 games in a single set, you will get extra rewards. So you can see here, for your first 10 overall wins, regardless of how many sets you do them in, you will get 10 times of this. So 200 crystals, 10 keys and 10 enchant gift packs. And if you can win 3, 7, 10 games within one set, you can get, this is the first chest, some gold, accessory and mastery stone arena. 7 wins, you can get a little bit of crystals, normal mastery stones, and 15 enchant gift packs. And for the 10 wins, you can get 200 crystals, 3 arena search stone packs, and 8 arena mastery stone packs. So if you don't really PvP much and you're struggling to hit the 10 wins, I would suggest that you don't actually need to go for this, because the main rewards from here only affect arena, which is PvP. And you can instead settle for 7 wins, which will give you the main thing here, which is the 15 enchant gift packs, which is pretty rare if you don't actually play PvP, because the easiest way to obtain this is from Apex Arena. So you don't really get this from anywhere else. You get a few packs from events now and here and there, but yeah, 15 is a lot. So for this game mode, the map remains the same every game. It will be the Broken Cliffs every single game. And you can kind of study this map through replays if you want to know more about the terrain and stuff. So without further ado, let's go into the team. So this is the team that I suggest you run if you want to just get to 7 or 10 if you can, quick wins. Let's look at the units. So if you didn't know, you can change your class, enchants, and even the individual gear pieces in this mode, although you are limited to what they allow you to select. This is for gears and enchants. So like Angelina here, for example, she doesn't have breeze enchant for whatever reason. They decided to give her rough sea. So, and you can see later as well, Luna, they let her choose from 4 pieces and none of them are last rights. So I would say it's a bit of a questionable decision. Did they think they will be too strong or something? Not too sure. So let's go over the gear selection for the units we are using. So Angelina will be using Clock Enchant and her gear will be Ragnarok, Last Rites. The equipment slot here, actually you can decide between King's Crown or her exclusive, because this team, I realized it doesn't really take advantage of King's Crown that much, because there's a lot of Actogen in this team. Like Angelina uses Tidal Surge, Rosalia uses Chivalry, Sigma uses Ranger's Heart, and yeah. So the only guy that benefits here is Claret, and she usually doesn't need King's Crown. So you can use her exclusive if you want, although she acts against so much that you probably won't really notice the effect of her exclusive anyway. The accessory doesn't really matter. Judge Talisman allows you to have a better time killing those holy healers or mages. And next we have Claret. Same thing, we will choose Breeze Enchant here, giving up Rough Sea, because I think in this mode, the way enchants work is that everything has a lot of HP, and the attack enchants on her gears aren't max, like they're 14 instead of 15%. So everything is a lot fatter and you do less damage. So I think even with Rough Sea, she will have problems one-shotting tanks with her combo. So I prefer to stick to Breeze, and sometimes you get Breeze proc and you can just zone Zerida from the rest of the game. Her gear build is similar to Angelina, a Ragnarok, Last Rites exclusive, and for this one, it's just your choice of attack accessory. Like, it's very marginal difference, it doesn't matter. You can go for players if you want more HP, Judge Talisman if you want to hit holy units, Twilight Star if, like, there's actually not anything that resists only Ragnarok and not Twilight Star, except for things like Werewolf Juggler, but you're not gonna kill Werewolf Juggler with Claret anyway, so doesn't really matter. You can just stick to Slayer's Emblem for more HP. So Rosalia, I personally like to use Meteor. That's what I'm using on my own Rosalia. And the exclusive, Eyeshard Armor, Fury of Tear, and Twilight Star. So why Eyeshard Armor over Aeolus? Eyeshard Armor is just to fish for kills on Yulias that for some reason did not equip Meditation Ring. They are not fixed immune. And 3C blocks their counter, they revive at 1 HP, and Eyeshard Armor just kills them. So that's the main reason for Eyeshard Armor. And why Meteor Enchant and Fury of Tear over the other stuff? This setup actually allows you to kill Werewolf Juggler without defense buff, even if they are in water. This setup can kill Werewolf Juggler, although Juggler shouldn't really be bringing werewolves into Rosalia, but if you happen to run into that matchup, you can know for certain that it's a guaranteed kill. So next we have Sigma. I think Sigma is a very underrated unit in this mode, especially for these single target aggro teams. Like, there isn't a single other person that I've met that was using Sigma. And his gear would be Crystal Stinger, Eyeshard Armor for the same reason as Rosalia. Is exclusive. Allows him to gain an attack buff with an RNG chance because he acts against a lot and he runs out of buffs very fast. And Apex Boots or Red Stocking for more mobility. You stick him in his infantry class. His archer class is actually viable, but it has less threat range, and you will play Archer Sigma for Uller Bow normal attacks, which is a lot of damage into flyers, but it's gonna do like negative damage into tanks. So I like using infantry more. Switch back to Apex Boots. Next we have Juggler. I run him in Hydra class because I want him to be able to tank stuff if he doesn't get banned. His enchants, I personally prefer Steel. Sometimes if you tank multiple hits, the Steel can make a difference. You can run Taunts if you want to try and RNG counter kill some stuff, or bring them low enough so that it's easier to counter kill them. His gear is pretty standard. Oath of Justice, Last Rites, exclusive. And I choose Spirit Boots over Swordsmith Medal here because I want him to have the option, to be able to have the option of disabling the other tank or just lock their units. And Luna, we have Flyer class with Cursed Lance, Twilight Armor because, well, Luna doesn't have Last Rites. Can use Cloak of Defiance if you want. It's slightly less MDef and it allows you to deal some fixed damage before taking a range attack. So, but it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Her exclusive is important because it allows her to increase her Winged God Realm span by 1. So it goes from 2 blocks to 3 blocks. You can see here, 2 blocks. It increases it to 3, which means that it's easier to take advantage of it, even though the chances of mitigating the mobility reduction is still 2, but it's easier to use it with 3 blocks aura. And her accessory will be Bracer's Emblem or SSM, and her enchant is Tree of Life. Because ice, I wouldn't really gamble on surviving and then freezing an opponent with ice, so most of the time you just stick to Tree of Life. And finally we have Zerida. Zerida also doesn't have Crystal Stinger for whatever reason, so we're using EMB, Last Rites, exclusive, and Slayer's Emblem. We'll stick to Shadow class because I think there's a lot of holy units, and without Judge Talisman it's not really possible to run a Demon class. So we've got the team and their builds out of the way. Let's go into how the draft looks. So in this mode, you will, when you see your opponent team, you will ban one of their units, you will protect 2 units, and then your opponent will ban 1 more unit. So you go into the game with 5 units. So what are your priority bans? So your first ban if you see a hobo, ban hobo. Hobo is the single most annoying unit to deal with for this team. And if they don't have a hobo, you can look to ban one of their tanks. So if they have one tank and let's say if they have hobo and they protect one of their tanks, they have 2 tanks overall, your second ban will need to be their other tank, because this team can deal with 1 tank, it can't really deal with 2 tanks. So no matter what, you probably need to ban the other one. If they have CC white as well, then you kind of run into a matchup problem. It's still winnable, but it's pretty tough. So that's just luck of the draw, I guess. So if there's hobo, you ban hobo. If there are tanks that are open, you ban the tank. So what if they don't have either of those? Which means that they will probably be playing some kind of rush team. And if there's a Rosalia, you will probably want to ban her, because she's the longest range unit for single target teams. And if you ban her, it will allow your team to be able to position more aggressively, which allows you to zone them better. Especially for Luna, you can position her aura further up so that your team can better take advantage of it. And other than that, if you don't want to ban the Rosalia, you could go for Luna or the other mobility supports like Iris and Imelda. The difference is that Luna buffs their whole team, whereas the Iris and Imelda only buffs one of them. So Luna is a juicier ban in this case. So from all the things that I mentioned, usually you will run into at least some of these in every team. So I won't really mention much about banning things like Yulia and Zerida. Like, you won't really have the space to ban DPS, because all the things that I mentioned earlier are much more important to ban. And you can deal with DPSs, they are not the problem. So what do you protect on your own team? Against aggro teams, you will protect these units. So 2 out of these 3 units that are not banned, usually if they are playing a single target team, they will ban your juggler, because there's only 1 tank in our team. Then you will protect Luna and Rosalia. If they don't, they ban your Luna, they fear your mobility. You will ban your juggler and Rosalia, because Rosalia still poses the biggest threat to any aggro team. And if they ban Rosalia, it's kind of up in the air, because these 2 technically don't do that much by themselves. So you could either go for a juggler plus Zerida ban, protect. If you think that juggler isn't doing that much, you could go for something like Zerida Luna or Zerida Sigma. It's kind of up in the air. But usually, most of the time, your protects will be between these 3 units. You'll protect 2 of them that is not banned. And if they don't have a tank, your main priority are these 2. Because it allows you to collect a kill on turn 1, and Luna works very well with Sigma. So with just describing and explaining the team on paper already took roughly 10 minutes, so I'm going to split the video into 2 parts. So the second video, well technically the third video for Fair Arena, I will put up the replays of 1 set of games, which is 10 wins, so that I can kind of show the team in action and how to make use of these units together.